What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. Want to thank my sponsor, Steel Supplements. Link and discount code in the description. Also, Weibo, preferred influencer, best way you can support the channel. Go click the link. Open an account. Doesn't cost you anything. They're going to give you free stock if you deposit $1, though. They will give you more free stock. And I got to tell you, this is a good video. I think worked hard on it. Hope you hit the like button and share it because we're going to talk about the smoke and mirrors. We're going to talk about Clint Oldenburg a little bit. But first, let's start Victor Lugo. A lot of you probably don't know who Victor Lugo is, but he's sitting in the EA Sports conference room, and they're asking him what he's working on. And he says, probably the greatest game ever in the history of games. That's what they think about this game. I want you to really understand that. That's why they don't respect your criticism, because they think they're working, they've worked, they've built the greatest game, not just football, but of all time. Now, why is this prevalent? Because I want you to understand, Victor Lugo would go out and film this with Mark Schlereth, who used to be an NFL player. We're going to talk about players that used to be practice squad players in a moment, but this is Mark Schlereth. And you can see the excitement Victor has, right? It's Madden 13. So 10 years ago, this is what they were selling us. Some of you, I respect, weren't into gaming 10 years ago, but this is what they were selling us. The excitement of, look at this moment. Look at how realistic the game is. As a matter of fact, we're going to show you that the defensive back's arm no longer passes through the wide receiver, because in Madden 12, this was a big issue. The clipping, the warping. Take a good look. Take a clear look at this dev footage. And ask yourself how much it looks like Madden 24, despite being a decade old. Now, we didn't just stop there. We're going to go to one of my least favorite people in the Madden community, AJ Johnson. And AJ's sitting here, and he's doing an interview with Victor Lugo. Now, why is this important? Because Victor is saying, well, players in the game, or characters as he refers them to, they're prepared to make contact. Now, to some of you, that probably doesn't make a lot of sense, because you don't understand that 10 years ago, EA Sports was actually selling us a muscle system within the players. That players could tense up. That players had muscles to them that we could, as gamers, have some control over. And they go on and they talk about how this was going to change the way we played the game. Now, 10 years ago, they're selling muscles. 10 years later, they're selling us a rebuilt character skeleton, and we've never heard of this muscular system ever again. Now, I know some of you are going to say, but Ryan, these are two different game engines, so you really can't compare Madden 13 to Madden 24, but why has the game not improved? Because they've continued to sell us the same concepts, the same ideologies. In fact, wait till the end of this video, the same verbiage. And yet the game does not get to the point in which they market it. As a matter of fact, if we remove Madden 24, we bring back up the promotion for Madden 13. What are we looking at? Oh, players bracing for the hit. Actually talking about, you want to say I nitpick? They're actually selling you the game by defining how the Saints player's neck is popping back during the physics-based tackle. But I nitpick, correct? You're showing us a skeleton on a player, but you're selling us muscle structure which connects that skeleton 10 years ago. EA Sports, it doesn't make any sense, because if you're telling me that muscle systems were in the game, why are you all of a sudden using this skeleton to sell me player models and say that all of a sudden Quentin Nelson looks more realistic because there's a more realistic skeleton, and saying that you also have more realistic, lean, standard, muscular, and heavy body types? That completely contradicts what you were telling us before. But let's talk about contradictions a little more granular. Let's talk about read and react defensive AI. Again, some of you don't know this. It's 10 years old. I understand some of you might not have been following Madden NFL 13 to understand that they sat here, if you read it, and they talk about new techniques, but the third one down, ball in air animations, new catch tackle animations. Yet here we are 11 years later. Look at the first one. They've expanded the same exact mid-air catch tackle system. Well, how long does it take to expand it to where it works, EA Sports? You tell me. Because every single year, right back to Madden 13, you sit there and you say, yes, that's what's different from last year's version. That's why the game is better now, because we've made all these changes. But the changes you make are the same. And now I want to talk about one of my favorite game developers of all time, former practice lineman. You know him as Clint Oldenburg. And Clint is sitting here, Madden 13, proudly proclaiming that offensive and defensive line is his specialty. Well, Clint, we're going to talk about your specialty here. We're going to start off with this play, and I'm going to ask you, did you put these little things in the trailer? Now look at this handoff here, okay? Look at these two defenders coming through the line. They're trying to sell you a wrap tackle, but this is a blown-up play. When you have the defensive backs in the background not even moving until this point, when you have a lineman here, this is where I think Clint really shines with that bias. What is this animation here, Clint? How did you record a defensive player sitting down into an offensive lineman to make it look like he got blocked? Is that something you just did to be funny? Because that's not realistic. Moving on, though. I want you to take a look at this a couple times. We're going to go through it. What do you think they're selling you here in this new blocking system? Going to go through the NFL rulebook. Clint, I would suggest that maybe you and some of your companions there at EA sit down and read this, particularly this rule right here, because I understand what this means. Unnecessarily running, diving into, cutting, or throwing the body against a player who is out of the play. This is an illegal block, something that the NFL has strived to get out of its game because, number one, it's dirty. Number two, it's not safe. And number three, it's cheap. And this is what actually starts fights on a football field. When you have a larger player running toward a defenseless player and colliding with him. In slow motion, you can see what they're trying to sell you. But if you actually understand football, you know this is not even legal because in the background, you see the ball carrier. This is so far away from the play. If this happens, in real life, there's a penalty. The safety is clearly looking down to where the ball carrier is. As the players fall to the ground, you can tell even the linebacker here starts to pick pursuit back up. But you have Clint Oldenburg sitting here and telling us, that's my specialty. Your specialty is what, Clint? Not understanding the NFL rulebook when you're trying to create a sizzle trailer for your broken football game? Or do you really think that gamers are so stupid? Do you really think that our memories are so short that we don't understand that the same exact things you marketed to us, the same exact improvements you sold us 10 years ago aren't in the game now because you're still selling them in the game that's about to release? And spare me the ideology of different engines have different physics, different capacities, different limitations. If this game was getting better in the way that it should be, from console generation to console generation, from development team to development team, from game year to game year, you don't have to sit there and tell us we've improved the same thing for 11 straight years. And you certainly don't have to sell us a trailer that's cut down, tight angles, trying to show us things that aren't even what you're showing to us in the actual trailer. You tried to show us how great a block was, and you showed us an illegal block, which would have been a blindside call by the referees that they just put back in the game after, 5 years? But that's what you do. You take things out of the game and you wait so long to put them back in, you hope new gamers have came on board that have gotten tired of this poor excuse for a football game, and to them it's new, so that makes it okay. But it's not, because there's people like me and people like many of you that have watched what this company has done to the football gaming landscape forever at this point. And they've done it by removing the NFL license, removing competition, and they've churned out a horrible product. And they continue to do so, but every year they get more blatant in how they mismarket, misrepresent, and mock our community with a broken game in a trailer that promises it is fixed when we all know it will not be. And when I know that's what's coming, there is no way that I can't sit here for the last 10, 15 years and tell you I will certainly be back in the week with more commentary.